Hey, good morning. How you doing today? As you can see, I'm still alive. I made it through my seventh batch of pneumonia. It's just about gone. So if you're wondering where I had been, I've been trying to stay alive. But good news is it's behind me now. So time to move on, right? Continue building the empire. Good to see you on here, Glenn and Dave, Joyce. Just got some people coming in. That's cool. Good to have you on here with me today. But I want to talk about, on my way to work, this gloomy day here in Las Vegas. Yesterday it was beautiful, sunny, 69 degrees. Today it is 50 and cloudy. Do you know why they call it partly cloudy or partly sunny? Do you know the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? Glenn, by far one of the greatest of the sheriffs here in America. Glenn Palmer, why? Or what is the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? Anybody know? Good morning, Susie. What is the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? Got that? Partly cloudy, partly sunny. What's the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny? Anybody? You're the funny man, Glenn Palmer. Good morning, Brett, Mike. All right, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny. Yo. Oh, it's raining in Nashville. You know, they're saying it might rain today. It kind of gets this way in Vegas. It gets all thunderstormy, but nothing really falls. All right, so here's the difference between partly cloudy and partly sunny. Partly sunny is during the day. Partly cloudy is at night. That's it. All right. So let's get on to the really why you're on here today. Why you need to have at least 3 credit cards. Now, you probably heard me say this lots of times. And here's the thing is, we know lots of things. We just don't always do them. We know, we should work out every day and exercise and eat healthy and not eat donuts and not smoke and not drink excessively, right? We know that. We know we should be wearing this all the time. We know we need to get 8 hours of sleep. You may know you need 3 credit cards, right? You know this. Maybe you don't. If you don't, you need 3 credit cards all the time. 3 open credit cards all the time. Now, you've heard me say it over and over again, but today I want to talk about why you need to have those 3 open credit cards. And if you don't have 3 open credit cards at all times that you use every single month, in the long run, you will not have good credit. Yeah, maybe you're a 720 right now, but you only got 1 card. You close it, you're not going to be 720 very much longer, right? So why do you need 3 credit cards? Why is it so important? Well, credit cards make up approximately 40% of your credit score. 40%. Now, how did I come up with that number? Because the FICO pie chart doesn't show that, right? If you've ever looked at the FICO pie chart, you would see that 35% of your credit score is based on payment history, and that's what everybody focuses on. 15% of your credit score is based on a length of credit history. 10% of your credit score is based on new credit. Another 10% is based on types of credit. And then remaining 30% is based on what type of credit you have, the remaining 30% is balances due. All right, payment history, length of credit, types of credit, new credit, balances due. That's 100%. But nothing there did I say was 40%. So how did I come up with the 40%? Here's how. Where do they get amounts owed? From the credit cards. Where do they get what types of credit? From the credit cards. Where do they get the length of credit history? From the credit cards. Where do they get new credit? From the credit cards. See, FICO knows that if you bought a mortgage, you're probably going to be overutilized for a while. It's not like a credit card. A mortgage, you don't get punished if you owe more than 10% of your credit line. If you get a mortgage for $200,000, they don't punish you if you owe over 10% like they do with their credit card. You could be 100% utilized on that credit card, on that mortgage, and still be okay. But if you get 100% utilized on a credit card, well, it's going to hurt. It's going to take as much as 100 points away from you. I did that back in April of last year. I maxed out one credit card. I have multiple credit cards. I maxed out one. I dropped 99 points. One credit card. 99 points. Excuse me. But as soon as I paid off the credit card, I got my 99 points back. All right. So credit cards are the most important thing you can have on your credit. The most important thing to manage properly, and the most important thing to never close. You got to have the credit cards. You have to have credit cards. Now, I know what Uncle Dave says. Uncle Dave says, all debt is bad debt. You don't need credit. Well, that's good for him. That works for people that have lots of money. And I'm not talking about a couple grand in the bank or $100,000 in the bank, but when these guys are making $5, $15, $10, $50 million a year, yeah, credit's really not that big of a deal. My friend Grant Cardone, Uncle G, last time I talked to him, when I was down in Miami in his office, that's not true. It wasn't the last time I talked to him, but the last time I was at his office in Miami, we were talking about his credit and how important credit is. And he just said, hey, man, I don't even know my credit score. I don't even know what it is. It doesn't matter. But this is a dude on his way to being a billionaire. Has over 4,000 doors or apartment complexes. His own jet, a $50 million jet that he bought a week and a half ago. A G550. Credit is not that important to Uncle G. Credit is not that important to Uncle Dave. But for you and me and about 99.9% of the rest of the world, at least Americans, credit is important. We don't have $50 million to drop on a new jet, right? So it's important that you have 3 credit cards at all times. You keep those credit cards below 10%. If you're overutilizing them, according to FICO, anything over 10% is overutilization. So if you're overutilizing them to get the points, pay them off early. Pay them by the reporting date. How do you find out the report date? You just call them up. Hey, Capital One, what day of the month do you report my balance to the credit bureaus? Just ask them. What day of the month? They'll say, hey, we report you on the 10th, but your payment's due on the 9th. Or we report it on the 10th and your payment's due on the 11th. Well, you got to pay it off in full by the 10th. Not on the 10th, before the 10th. Whatever the date it is, okay? You have to pay it off before the report date. Otherwise, it shows maxed out every single month. And that hurts you. It lowers your credit score. Now, our normal day-to-day lives, if your scores are going up and down, kind of like the Rocky Mountains or the Sierra Mountains here behind me, if it's a jagged up and down, that doesn't necessarily hurt you for your day-to-day life. Because how often do you try to get a new credit card, or a new car, or a new boat or motorcycle, or four-wheeler, or side-by-side, or a new TV at Walmart? You got to finance it, right? You shouldn't be. Not that often. But it is important to know what's going on with your credit. You know, we can talk about car loans. I personally believe a car can be a much larger asset than a house. Yesterday I went to a barber shop, got all trimmed up, and was talking to the barber. Guy owned the joint, driving a Fisker. And, you know, I'm talking to him. He asked me what I do, and I tell him. He's like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, I got pretty good credit." I said, "Really? What's your credit score?" 620. I'm like, "Dude, that ain't good credit. That's shitty credit." I said, "But I can help you get good credit." He goes, "But I want good credit because I want to buy a house." So I asked him, "Why do you want to buy a house?" He goes, "Well, real estate always goes up." This is the dude telling me this in Vegas. Real estate always goes up. Vegas hasn't even recovered from the 2008 crash. Real estate doesn't always go up. And so I asked him, "What kind do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just me, my wife." Or no, he said, "Me, my girl, and my son." I think that's what he said. No, he said wife. Yeah, he said, "It's me, my wife, and my son." He goes, "We're just going to get a condo. Don't need anything big, just something small." I said, "Hey, condo you'd be okay with. You know, because when the market crashes or corrects, which it's going to do, I think you'll be okay with a condo because baby boomers are selling their McMansions and moving into the 2-bedroom, 1-bath condos or two twos. Right? So I think anybody who owns a condo is going to be okay. If you got a 4 or 5 bedroom house, 6,000 square foot, man, you're going to be in trouble because baby boomers, the people with the money here in America, they don't want those McMansions anymore. They're getting rid of their McMansions and they're trading them in for condos. And if you want to do a little research yourself, start asking baby boomers. Baby boomers are people that are 70 years old or older. Well, 65. 65, but it's the 70-year-olds that are starting to cash in their property, cash in their retirement as required by ERISA 1976 law that Richard Nixon started. They're required to cash in their retirement. And now, as of this month, January 2018, we have almost 10 million baby boomers here in America that are legally required to start cashing in their 401k. And you know what happens when people start selling stocks in the 401k at a rate of 10 million people growing by 1 million a month. Shit's going to get ugly, right? But Trump has got everybody excited. But eventually that excitement is going to wear off. But back to why a car is more of an asset than a house. Sherry, thanks so much for sharing, tagging. I never even talked about the silver giveaway. Hey, if you share this video, tag a friend and hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, I'll give you some. I'll do a drawing tomorrow and I'll give away some silver. I don't have any with me, but I've been giving away in the month of December. That was just a December thing. But I think I'm going to continue that theme. Everybody seemed to like it. So if you share this video, tag a friend, and hashtag Fortress Credit Pro, I will pull some names tomorrow and give away some silver. People are just constantly texting me and Facebook messaging me right now. So, but let's get back. Why a vehicle is more of an asset than a car. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. All right? So let me ask you. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. Doesn't take from you, it gives you money every month. How much money does your house that you currently live in put in your pocket every month? How much money does your house put in your pocket every month? Because if it's taking money out of your pocket, it is not an asset. It is a liability. It's not an asset. It's a liability. A car, though, can get you from home, the liability, to your job. And because it's getting you to your job, it's helping you put money in your pocket. And that's why I think a car is more of an asset than a house. Now, can you make money off of your house that you currently live in? Yeah, you can Airbnb it. I'm Airbnb in my house right now in Tahoe because I'm here in Vegas. It's in Tahoe. It's empty. I don't want it sitting empty. So I'm Airbnb-ing it. Will people break stuff? Yeah. Are people sleeping in my bed up there? Yeah. Do I care? No. It's just a house. It's just a bed. Right? As soon as the snow's gone, I'm going to sell it. Will they break something? Yeah, they're going to break something. They ruined the last people ruined a little dishcloth. You know, a 30-cent dishcloth. I don't care. Throw the damn thing away. Right? But yes, you can make money from your house Airbnb out of rent a room. Then you can kind of you can make it an asset. But is my house, even though it's rented almost every single weekend and it's bringing in thousands of dollars a month, is it still an asset to me? I'm going to say no, because it costs me more than that. Right? If you get a car and you drive for Uber, that can be an asset. Now, the reason people got so confused about assets is somebody, and I think it was probably a politician, come up with this idea to put your home residence on your balance sheet. Balance sheet is where you put all of your assets for the company, and you should have a balance sheet for yourself because you are a company. You are an Inc. You are, as my friend Andy Frisella says, the MF CEO. You are the CEO of your life. You should be, at least. But you need to put it on your balance sheet. And so some politician said, hey, in order to spread the American dream, aka the American nightmare, of getting people in debt for a liability, let's confuse them. Let's put this house on the asset side, but it's not really an asset. In fact, if you go to Google and you type in net worth meaning, you will see it's a net worth minus your primary residence, minus the house. All right, I digressed a little bit. Back to the credit card thing. all I was saying basically with that is your car can be more of an asset than your house. I had my barber yesterday tell me he had a 620 credit score, pretty proud of that. And he wants to buy a house. And I told him I'm going to get him up in the high 700s before he buys. If he's going to buy, I'm going to get him as high as possible so he has the lowest possible interest rate. And I told him, I'll save you $150 a month. And maybe that doesn't seem like a lot, but $150 a month for the next 30 years, or at least the next 5 years when he lives in the condo, is a big deal. And if he has more kids, he's probably going to want to move out of that condo, and maybe he's going to want to rent it. Well, $150 savings on a rental is a big deal because now you cash flow. So I told him, I'll help you out. I'll get your credit score up in the high 700s. And that's what I want to do for him. That's what I want to do for you. So why are credit cards so important? You need 3 credit cards at all times. And the reason the credit cards are so important is because it's nearly 50% of your credit score. Now, I know if you look at the FICO pie chart, you're not going to see that. I went over this earlier. You're going to see payment history. You're going to see amounts owed. You're going to see length of credit history. You're going to see types of credit, and you're going to see new credit. And those pie area, they add up to 100%. Nothing in there says credit cards are 40%. But they get the balance owed, which is 30% of your score, from the credit cards. They get the 15% of your credit score, length of credit history, from the credit cards. They get the 10% new credit from the credit cards. And then 10% on what type of credit you have. And then the last thing's payment history, which is 35% of your credit score. They take that all from the credit cards. Again, back to the house thing. When you have a house and you put 5% down and you're 95% utilized, FICO doesn't care. But if you're 95% utilized on a credit card, FICO cares. And that's why they punish you. Because the likelihood of you missing a payment in the next 2 years with a 95% utilized credit card is pretty damn high. Versus a 95% utilization rate on a car loan or a house loan, the chances of you being late is pretty low. That's all FICO is trying to do. They're just trying to figure out the likelihood of you missing your payment over the next 2 years. They're just predicting the future. That's it. That's all they're trying to do. So what do you do if you don't have 3 credit cards? I told you the problem. Now I'm going to give you the solution. By the way, there was a little, I said it never rains, but I had like 20, 30 drops hit the windshield here. That's a rain in Las Vegas. 20, 30 drops. What do you do if you only have 2 credit cards, you only got 1 credit card, you have no credit cards? Well, it depends on what your credit score is. If it's been a long time since you've had a credit card, or you've never had a credit card, you probably got a pretty poor credit score. So you're going to need to build that up. It's going to be pretty difficult for you to get a credit card, an unsecured credit card with a 400 credit score. So you might need to start with some secured cards. Go to your local credit union, go to your local bank, or go to creditkarma.com. You can go to my website, fortresscreditpro.com. We have our own credit cards on there. I think we got 5 of them. None of them will turn you down regardless of your credit score, unless you're currently in a bankruptcy. Wait 30 days for your bankruptcy to discharge, and then we'll qualify you. Okay, we'll approve you. But you got to get some credit cards. Now, maybe you got some family members. Maybe you got a kid with good credit, a parent with good credit, brother, sister, mother, brother, aunt, uncle, girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend and boyfriend, I don't know. But if they got good credit, they got good credit cards, and what I mean by good credit cards is something over 4 years old, something that has a high credit limit, low credit balance. Ask them to add you to their card as an authorized user. I will do that, Armando. I see your message. That's a great idea. I will do that. In fact, we're getting ready to start doing our credit hack videos in the studio. I'll make sure everybody gets included in those videos. But ask a family member, a friend, mother, brother, sister, whatever. Like I said, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. Have them put you on their credit card as an authorized user. Another thing you can do is, let's say you own a company, but because you're an entrepreneur and you do what an entrepreneur often does, they pay everybody first to keep the company afloat, and they fail to pay their own bills, and so they have damaged credit. Maybe you got an employee that's got good credit because you paid their bills, you paid the salary for them, even though you didn't take a salary. You paid their bills. Well, ask them to add you as an authorized user. Pretty simple. Have them add you as an authorized user to their account, and that's going to boost your credit score when that shows up. What you don't want to do is don't become an authorized user for someone who has maxed out credit cards and brand new credit cards. It's not going to help you. All right, so if you can get secured cards, you can be added as an authorized user. At that point, you can get unsecured cards at creditkarma.com or your bank or whatever. But you got to get credit cards today. 3 of them. And I know Uncle Dave says all debt's bad debt, and he's wrong. I know he says to close your credit cards, he's wrong. Pretty much anything Uncle Dave says about credit, you do the opposite of what he says. Okay? Pretty much anything Dave says about credit or Susie Orman says about credit, you do the opposite. They say, cut up your credit cards. Don't cut up your credit cards. Go get some, right? So you want to get 3 credit cards, keep your balances below 10%, never close them, keep them open, and it's because that is going to increase your credit score. It's the most important thing. Watch this video again. I've gone over it a couple times, how FICO looks at your credit cards. But Uncle Dave is treating everybody like an alcoholic or a creditaholic. That's why. He doesn't trust you. He doesn't trust that you, an adult, can make the decisions for yourself. He's kind of like a politician, a babysitter. It's kind of like the nanny. You know, like California, the nanny state. They want to make all decisions for you because they don't trust that you can make decisions for yourself. So he's looking at it as you're a creditaholic. You can't say no. So he says, cut up your credit cards. Like an alcoholic will avoid bars, will avoid people who drink, won't put them in a situation where there's alcohol because they can't say no. And that's how Uncle Dave treats everybody. So you need to have good credit. You need to have 3 credit cards to have good credit, and you need to keep those credit cards open and keep your balances below 10%. If you go over the 10% like I do to get all the points and the rewards and all that stuff, then simply pay it off by the report date. The way you get the report date is you simply call your credit card company and ask, when do you report? That's all you got to do. And then pay it off before that date. Okay? He said Uncle Dave has used debt to build his business. I don't know, Orlando. I don't know if that's true or not. I honestly believe that Dave is an honest man and a man of integrity. He says he pays cash for everything. I believe that. I truly do. I believe that he's trying to help people. But the way he's doing, I don't like the way he's doing it because he treats everybody as a dumb country bumpkin. And most people who listen to him that buy into that, that's kind of their mentality. I don't want to get credit. I want to pay cash. Cash is the worst thing you should be paying with. Costs more. You can't keep track of it. You lose it. Look at the video where I lost a $1,300 coin a couple weeks ago because it fell out of my pocket. It's dumb. I wish I'd have lost my American Express card instead because I just got a new one. Instead, I lose a $1,300 gold coin at Tony Hsieh's house. I don't know if you know who Tony Hsieh is, but he's the founder and CEO of Zappos. But I lost a coin at his place playing with his llamas. And no one seemed to turn it in. Not his llamas, his alpacas. But anyway. You got to have 3 credit cards, got to keep them open. But back to Uncle Dave. I don't believe that he used debt to finance his business. I believe he's a man of integrity. I believe that he's honest when he says he pays cash for everything. And he doesn't have credit cards. I've seen his credit report. He doesn't have any credit cards at all. Nothing on his credit report. Nothing. It's blank. Right? So I believe him when he says that he pays cash for everything. But I will tell you this. The radio stations that he broadcasts on use debt to promote his show. The people who pay him use debt to pay him and use debt to build their business. Okay? So Uncle Dave's not using debt, but his partners that have made him into what he is today, his empire, used debt to get there. See, not all debt is bad. Consumer debt is bad. Consumer debt is bad. Business debt's not bad. Maybe car debt might not be bad if you're using it to make money. Here's the thing. Just like Orlando says, Uncle G leveraged debt. Every single billionaire on the planet leveraged debt. And most millionaires leveraged debt. Alfredo, thanks so much for being first time. That's awesome, man. Hopefully you're getting something out of this. I hope so anyway. But every millionaire that I know and every billionaire I've ever met, they all use debt to get there. They leveraged it. And there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with being in debt is consumer debt. You know, financing your Taco Bell. I had this couple that I was coaching. I coached one call. They wouldn't do what I told them to do. So I never did another coaching call with them. It's wasting my time. Wasted their time. The husband was financing Taco Bell. And the average American, 67% of Americans, 60% finance Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's, their electricity, their groceries, their insurance. What do I mean by that? Well, they're using their credit cards to pay their bills, and they're not paying off their credit cards in full every month, which 67% of Americans with credit cards don't pay it off in full. So they're financing consumer debt. That's bad. Almost all credit card debt is bad. The only credit card debt that's not bad is business credit cards. Business credit card debt that you use for your business, to grow your business, to make more money. That's good debt. So when Uncle D, Dave, says all debt is bad debt, he's wrong. Leverage it if you're doing it the right way. But in order to get the good debt, you got to have generally good credit. Now, Uncle G, Grant Cardone, back to when I was sitting with him in his office in Miami, he said, I don't need personal credit. You know, I got an unlimited line of credit with the U.S. government. Literally, unlimited. Up to maybe $4 billion. But right now it's unlimited. So if he wants to buy a $100 million unit, complex, he simply gives them a call, sends them an email, and they give him $100 million. Then he's going to take that $100 million of debt and make $50 million off of it. Or $25 million. His average, I think he said, was 25% return on investment. Right? 25%. So if you borrow $100 million and it makes you $25 million, and you cash out, you keep the $25 million, and you just keep cashing up, right? Until you're at $1 billion or $4 billion or $5 billion or whatever it is. But Uncle G doesn't have great credit, Orlando. He doesn't. He's in the 600s. The last time I talked to him, he said he was in 660s. Right? And why? Why? He doesn't have bad credit as a poor credit score. There's a difference between bad credit and poor credit score. Bad credit is the late payments, the charge-offs, the collections, the liens, the bankruptcy. G doesn't have that. He has poor credit. Why? Because he's got one credit card. That's it. No car loans, no house loan, one credit card. He doesn't pay. The Rolls is not a loan. The Range Rover is not a loan. The condo he lives in is not a loan. The airplane's in the business. Everything's in the business with G. He's got one credit card. He calls it Mrs. Silver. There's Mr. Black, the business card, and Miss Silver, the personal card. That's it. How many credit cards do you need to have in order to have great credit? 3. How many does Uncle G have? 1. That's why he doesn't have a great credit score. He's got good credit, but not great credit score. How do you fix that? All G would have to do is go get 2 more credit cards, get a car loan, get a mortgage loan, and boom, score goes up. Does he have to have a mortgage? No, he'll get about 25 points if he does. Does he have to have a car loan? No, he'll get about 25 points if he does. Does he have to have 3 credit cards? Yes, 3. Not 2, not 1, 3 or more. The black card is a business card. It doesn't show up on your personal credit. That's one of the advantages of the American Express Platinum Series or the Centurion card that people have. You can't apply for Centurion card. They ask you if you want one. Once you have $5 million in net worth, you spend at least $250,000 a month on your Platinum card for at least a year, and then there's some other qualifications if they think you're going to be a big spender, because the way American Express makes their money is every time you swipe, they get a percentage of that, generally 1% to 2%. Who pays for it? The merchant. But who really pays for it? Who pays for all these points that these guys are doing? Later today, I'm going to do another video on why Ty Lopez's credit card guy is a fraudster and why you shouldn't buy his $600 program. So that's coming up later on today. But who pays these points? Orlando says merchants. Really? The merchants pay. Is it the merchants? Who pays for all these points? Who pays for me to fly around the world, my wife and I, first class for free? And hundreds of other people. Boom. Jennifer Rainier. Consumers pay for it. Yeah. Consumers pay. But, more specifically, what consumers pay for all those credit card points and rewards? What consumer? What consumer paid for me to have my daughter and my grandson flown from Texas to San Diego so I could take him to Legoland and spend the weekend with him for his birthday? What consumers? The merchant paid the fees, right? Which they passed it on to the consumer. But what consumer paid for it? The consumers with credit card debt. Yep. But there's another type of consumer. It's the consumer. Yes, the consumers paid for it. But what consumers paid more of it? The consumers who paid with a debit card or cash. Because I go to Safeway or whatever, and I swipe my card. Yes, I have to pay, essentially, because of the prices of American Express. They just raise the prices of their products. But I get cash back, right? So I swipe it, I get 2% back. They're charging 2% more to cover the American Express fees or Visa, Discover, MasterCard fees. So I get my 2% back. So it's a wash for me. But if I pay with a debit card or cash, it's costing me 2 to 3%, maybe 5%. Then it gets worse. If I pay cash for my groceries and I finance my clothing, I finance my electric bill, I finance that vacation I have to go on, those shoes I have to have, that Xbox, that new TV, then they take the interest, right? But it's not Visa that's getting the interest. It's the banks that get the interest. So a lot of people think that when you have a balance on the credit card, that's what's paying for the points. But it's not the bank that pays you the rewards. It's the credit card. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express. Now, in American Express, they are the bank. All right, but like with my Sears card or my American Airlines card, Visa gives me the cash back, right? But it's actually coming from Citi. And yes, there is some money coming from the banks. There is some money coming from Visa. But it's not all paid by having an interest. It's not the consumers. Not all of it. It's primarily the merchants, which then pass it on to the consumers, and then the consumers pay it. And if you pay with a debit card, same as cash, it hurts. But debit card's not exactly the same as cash, because if someone gets your debit card number, they can take all your cash. Or at least when you pay cash, that's it. It's done. Not saying that you should carry cash. I do carry cash. Somebody asked earlier. But it is in a money clip rubber band thing, because I used to carry cash and I lost it all the time. Constantly lost cash. So I stopped carrying it for a long time. And then I was at Sturgis a few years ago, and I found this money clip wallet. I think it's called uniquewallet.com. It's pretty cool. You put your credit card. It's got this big rubber band, holds the cash, and I've never lost any cash since carrying it that way, right? But I think me losing cash was God's way to feed the poor, because I seem to always lose hundreds of dollars. But I started carrying cash, and I'm going to run in here because my battery's almost dead. But here's something to think about. When I was 21 years old, getting ready to go to the fire academy in Denver, Colorado, I was working for a company called SCI. And I was going door to door selling prearranged funerals. 21 years old, selling prearranged funerals. Knock on the door, they'd open it. Hi, I'm Rondi. When do you plan on dying? That was my script. Door closed. Next. Hi, I'm Rondi. When do you plan on dying? Door closed in my face. That was my first experience with sales. Loved it. Never been back. I mean, I'll never do anything else other than sales, right? But anyway, the sales manager told me, he's like, how much cash you got on you? And I'm like, none, man. I'm broke. I'm 21 years old. I got 3 kids. Or 2 kids, 1 on the way. Living with my in-laws in the basement. And I'm broke. He's like, yeah, that's why you're not selling anything. Because you're broke. And the people know you're broke. And you pretend not to be broke. So you need to go get some cash and put it in your pocket. Even if it means cashing your paycheck and carrying it around with you. Start with something, $20. Then I moved up to 100. Then I moved up to 1,000. Then I moved up to several thousand that I carry, because it makes me feel that I'm not broke anymore. I might not have any money in the bank account, but if I got $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 in my pocket, I feel a lot better, and it makes a difference. Uncle G walks around with 35 grand in cash when he travels. In that bag, that little black bag, when you see him on stage, right? Uncle G's got 35 grand in that little bag. But he also has something else in that black bag that you don't want to be on the receiving end of it. Right? Same thing that I got right here, and I'm not going to pull it out because I'm sitting here funky. But you don't want to be on the receiving end of it, if you know what I mean. You don't want to be inoculated by lead. Right? I don't know if Uncle G's got a 45 in there. I think it is. It's a SIG. I carry a Glock and an FN57. But I digress. All right, I'm going to wrap this baby up. If you'd like a chance at winning some silver, share the video. Hashtag Fortress Credit Pro. And tag a friend. I am going to do a video later on today why Ty Lopez's guy is a scam. You should save your $600. They're telling you to do things that are illegal. And anybody that's telling you to do illegal stuff that could put you in jail, in prison, do you really want to do that for a credit card? No, you don't. So stay tuned later on, probably around 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern time. I'll do a video somewhere in there. I'll announce it a little bit later. But sign up to be notified for that through the notifications on Facebook. And I'll share why you need to avoid Mr. Lopez and his people at all costs, because I don't want you to end up in prison over a stupid credit card. It's not worth it, right? All right, get 3 credit cards as soon as possible. See you later.